This is having to do with unidentified flying objects. And of course, this is credible because of the fact that it was witnessed by US Navy pilots. What the F is that thing? Fast-moving UFO stuns US Navy pilots. Zero Hedge reports this on Daily Sheeple. Stunning video, we're going to see that later. Captured by US Navy pilots in 2015, showing a mysterious object with no obvious wings or tails and no exhaust plume, traveling at a high rate of speed over the Atlantic Ocean, very low over the water. The Declassified Department of Defense video was released by analytics firm the Stars Academy of Arts and Science, whose advisory committee includes former Clinton and Bush Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Christopher Mellon. What the F is that thing? Shouts the pilot of the US Navy FA-18 Super Hornet equipped with a Raytheon AN/ASQ-228 advanced targeting forward-looking infrared pod. Obviously, you can see these immediately with infrared. One of the most advanced imaging devices in use by military, which can locate and designate targets at distances over 40 nm. So this is what it looks like. It's black and white, but you can see it. The unidentified vehicle appears as a white oval shape, moving in high speeds from top right to lower left of the screen, flying very low over the water. Initially, the sensor is unable to capture the object. Weapon System Operator WSO steers the sensor ahead of the object to attempt another capture, and on the third attempt, the sensor tracking capture is successful. The sensor is now in auto track mode, where the sensor uses contrast and other parameters to lock on to a target, automatically keeping it centered in the sensor's viewing frame. TTS. Now, let's go. This is the official US footage of UAP for public release. So it's released for us. Taken aboard a US Navy F-18 Super Hornet, unaltered footage captured by Raytheon Advanced Targeting Forward, as we said before. You will hear the actual US fighter pilots who are highly trained observers and weapon system operators, WSO. This is the Raytheon. Sensor is in infrared mode, IR, infrared. Sensor is aimed 35 degrees left of aircraft axis. 4.1 nm slant from target to aircraft. Sensor aimed 22 degrees below aircraft axis. FA-18 is in a 5-degree right turn. ATFLIR target auto track bars, and FA-18 calibrated airspeed 252 knots. Hot display designator is in black mode. Hot item are cold black. Okay, well that's too fast. FA-18 altitude 25,000 feet. Here he's unable to capture the object. He's attempting another capture. That one is successful. Here he is.
Can you box moving target? No, okay. Oh, God, dude.
And as you can see, it's going pretty fast. So specifically noted by the TTSA, there are no obvious wings or tails. Even infrared imagery of the cruise missile could have visible wings at that range. So it was not. What was it? There is no exhaust plume from the object. An exhaust plume clearly visible on conventional aircraft. As you can see here, that's an exhaust plume there, right? The sensor is in white hot mode. Note that the length of the exhaust plume is nearly the length of the aircraft. The video from which this still was extracted makes it clear that the F-16 is subsonic, which means the throttle is at a low setting which creates relatively low exhaust temperatures and volume of exhaust gases. In a higher power setting, the exhaust plume would be much larger and brighter. That's an image, as we can see there. So, is the Pentagon ignoring UFOs, and why? After New York Times offered the clearest official footage of the UFO encounter in history last December, along with a secret $22 million Pentagon program to analyze unidentified flying objects, UFOs of course, it's been crickets from the media. Quote, the footage from the Navy FA-18 Super Hornet showing an aircraft surrounded by some kind of glowing aura, right, there we are, and there we are, glowing aura, traveling high speeds, rotating as it moves. The Navy pilots can be heard trying to understand what they're looking at. Quote, there's a whole fleet of them, one exclaims. Defense officials declined to release the location and the date of the incidents, even though they released the film. U.S. Department of Defense, look at that thing, let's see.
There's a whole fleet of them over the SA. My God. They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots west. Oh, they do. That's not how that's going, is it? It's not. Well,
Oh, it's twisting now.
it's rotating.
There you go. Earlier version of the video misstated parts. One said this is an expletive drone. No, it's not, said the other. So let's go down further. As former Clinton and Bush Deputy Assistant Secretary of Defense Christopher Mellon writes in the Washington Post, the silence from the Pentagon in addressing what is clearly more advanced technology than what is publicly known, be it aliens or a foreign government, is deafening. So, of course, why would they report or say anything? It would be just detrimental to their technology because they have nothing like this. Now, is it a foreign government or is it just aliens? In December, the Department of Defense declassified 2 videos documenting encounters between U.S. Navy F-18 fighters and unidentified craft. The first video captures multiple pilots observing and discussing a strange hovering egg-shaped craft, apparently one of the fleet of such objects, according to the cockpit audio. The second shows a similar incident involving an F-18 attacks to the USS Nimitz carrier battle group in 2004. Okay, this is really serious. If you've got these UFOs attacking carriers, that's really, really very serious. They've got to do something to stop this. The videos, along with observations by pilots and radar operators, appear to provide evidence of the existence of aircraft far superior to anything possessed by the United States or its allies. I'm sure it's far superior to what anybody in the known world possesses. What is this? Who has these things? Okay, look, it could be from anywhere from space aliens to advanced human beings that have been in hiding. I don't know what to say. There are others who say that Admiral Byrd actually went into the North Pole and had a meeting with what we would call Nephilim or Anunnaki beings, who told him that the world should stop using atomic weapons, otherwise they're going to blow up the world and shake the solar system. So who knows what they are? Now the videos, along with observations by pilots and radar operators, appear to provide, this is, of course, it's evidence of the existence of aircraft far superior to anything possessed by United States or allies. Defense Department officials who analyze the relevant intelligence confirm that more than a dozen such incidents off the East Coast alone since 2015. In another recent case, the Air Force launched F-18 fighters last October in a failed attempt to intercept an unidentified high-speed aircraft looping over the Pacific Northwest. So it's everywhere. So is it possible that America has been technologically leapfrogged by Russia or China? This is what Mellon posits. Or, as many people wonder after the videos were first published by the New York Times in December, might they be evidence of some alien civilization? Unfortunately, we have absolutely no idea because we aren't even seeking answers. People are hiding, maybe like an ostrich. Mellon says that thanks to his years working with the Clinton and George W. Bush administrations, the military treats these incidents as isolated events rather than part of a pattern warranting investigation. Mellon's colleagues, Louis Elizondo, quote, used to run a Pentagon intelligence program that examined evidence of anomalous aircraft, but he resigned last fall to protest government inattention to the growing body of empirical data. So he quit because nobody was doing anything about it. Report from separate services and agencies remain largely ignored and unevaluated, says Mellon, who says there is no process at the Pentagon to analyze reports across agencies. Fox Mulder would have shaken his head. Incredible feats. Mellon notes that there is ample evidence from official government sources of various unidentified craft performing mind-boggling aerobatics. In one example, over the course of 2 weeks in November 2004, the USS Princeton, a guided missile cruiser operating advanced naval radar, repeatedly detected unidentified aircraft operating in and around the Nimitz carrier battle group, which it was guarding off the coast of San Diego. In some cases, according to incident reports and interviews with military personnel, these vehicles descended from altitudes higher than 60,000 feet at supersonic speeds, only to suddenly stop and hover as low as 50 feet above the ocean. The United States possesses nothing capable of such things. At least 2 occasions, F-18 fighters were guided to intercept these vehicles, but were unable to verify their locations, appearance, and performance. Notably, these encounters occurred in broad daylight and were independently monitored by radars aboard multiple ships and aircraft. According to naval aviators I have spoken with at length, the vehicles were roughly 45 feet long and white, yet these mysterious aircraft easily sped away from and outmaneuvered America's frontline fighters without a discernible means of propulsion. Zip zap, like the speed of a thought. After speaking with senior Pentagon officials on the topic, Mellon notes, quote, nobody wants to be the alien guy in the national security bureaucracy. Nobody wants to be ridiculed or sidelined for drawing attention to the issue. UFO parts sitting in Las Vegas? Perhaps one of the most glazed over aspects of the New York Times December piece on UFOs is that of a $22 million joint project between billionaire entrepreneur Robert Bigelow, who is currently working with NASA to produce spacecraft. Bigelow is an associate of Harry Reid, Democrat from Nevada, retired, who has long had an interest in space phenomena. And this is a picture of Bigelow right here. On CBS 60 Minutes, in May, Mr. Bigelow said he was absolutely convinced that aliens exist and that UFOs have visited Earth, according to New York Times. Contracts obtained by the Times show a congressional appropriation of just under $22 million beginning in late 2008 through 11. The money was used for management of programs, research, and assessment of the threat posed by the object. Oh, what's the measly $22 million going to do about this? The funding went to Mr. Bigelow's company, Bigelow Aerospace, which hired subcontractors and solicited research for the program. This is the kicker. Under Mr. Bigelow's direction, the company modified buildings in Las Vegas for the storage of metal alloys and other materials that Mr. Elizondo and program contractor said have been recovered from unidentified aerial phenomena. Quote, the storage of metal alloys and other materials recovered from unidentified aerial phenomena. Let that sink in. Moreover, researchers also studied people who said they had experienced physical effects from encounters with the objects and examined them for any physiological changes. In addition, researchers spoke to military service members who had reportedly sightings of strange aircraft, this is according to New York Times. Quote, we're sort of in the position of what would happen if you gave Leonardo da Vinci a garage door opener, unquote. This is what Harold E. Puthoff said. He's an engineer who has conducted research on extrasensory perception for the CIA, later worked as a contractor for the program. Quote, first of all, he tried to figure out what is this plastic stuff. He wouldn't know anything about the electromagnetic signals involved or its function, unquote. For those who have long said, quote, I want to believe, unquote, when it comes to UFOs, the U.S. military has released enough official footage in the last 6 months alone to make believing much easier. This is by the Daily Sheeple, and as we said, on Zero's Hedge, and you can enjoy looking at the videos. Let's look at this one again. I like that one. This is the one that spins.
There's a whole fleet of them over on the SF. My gosh. We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to west. Oh, thank you. That's not Alaska, is it? It's not. Well, if there's a lunacy, it's roasted.
What can I say? Okay, this disclosure, I guess. Obviously, this is fact, it's not fiction.